Okay, it says it's live. It says it's live. Five waiting. Don't know.
Yeah, you're live.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not able to see it on the YouTube. Oh, there it is. Just a lag.
There's a delay between the two.
It is live. Great. Sam is there. Fantastic. Well, this is it. Great. Thank you guys for your patience and welcome. Great. Thank you guys. Wow. And I'm getting the echo, which I should have known about. We will kill that. All right. So this is my first live stream, and thank you for hanging through the technical difficulties, which I'm sure I will do again. But this is part 2 of the Bet Your Life series, joined tonight by Jim Majors and Brian Keene. Both Jim and Brian are friends of mine. I have them on because they are very, very skilled at taking a look at a narrative and picking out the parts that are important and analyzing it. But the way that these two men do this is in 2 very, very different ways because they come from very different backgrounds. And Jim is... Well, I mean, you guys know Jim Majors, right? He's the going for his PhD. He's engages in counter-apologetics and frequently debates with Christians about their own theology. And Brian Keene, of course, is the Grandmaster Horror Award winner, Bram Stoker Award winner. He's got more freaking awards than the Bible's got Psalms. And, you know, he unfortunately has known me in real life since 1998 and likes me anyway. Anyways, so Jim, why don't you go ahead and unmute and say hi to everybody there.
Hi, everybody there. Thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here. Nice to meet Brian finally, and yeah, just looking forward to whatever this is. I don't know. I was just told to be here. I'm here.
Yeah. I haven't been very forthcoming with the details of what will be presented this evening. And Brian, you know how we were on last night on your channel. We got to do an interview with Dave Scow.
Right. Yeah.
And now you get to be here this evening. You guys and Mary are going to be sick of me by the end of the week.
Well, I mean, I've been sick of you since 1998, but I keep coming back. No, it's good to be on with Jim, and much like Jim, I have to be honest. I'm still not clear just what we're going to do. But that's par for the course with you, and I find it always works out in the end. So yeah, let's do it.
All right. Well, cool. Now, part 1 of the Bet Your Life series, I introduced, as an introduction to the series, talked about Blaise Pascal and his infamous wager, where he proposes that it would be beneficial for one to bet their life that Christianity is true and, you know, go all in on that proposition. I don't think that's always such a great idea. Now, for part 2 here, what I'm going to be presenting for your guys' consideration is it's a story that takes place in New York, where I grew up, set around sometime around 1985. Okay. For sensitive viewers, I will let you guys know there may be a trigger warning, which I normally wouldn't do in my fiction, because I figure if you're going to buy something of mine, you already know, what you're getting into. But, for this type of thing, I will include a trigger warning. I don't go into any graphic detail. I don't show any images or stuff like that, but there is some disturbing content, which is unfortunately relative to the story that's being presented. So do have to talk about it a bit. But if you guys are ready, we'll just go ahead and then add this in, change this to this, and I think if I hit play, it'll go. You guys hear that okay?
I don't.
No sound.
All right, hold on.
Jim, we could have a lot of fun ad-libbing what he's supposed to be saying there in the video right now.
And then I just grabbed the horse by his balls and I said, "Let's go, buddy."
It was
still
that
can't
big.
hear it. You're not hearing any audio on that?
I'm not.
No. Okay. All right. Oh, because there's a little thing down at the bottom that says share audio. Huh. Thank you guys for your patience. I do appreciate it. Take 2 of this.
Nope.
Still
Is
don't
it
hear
going? Huh?
Nope. No audio here.
No audio here either.
No audio. Why am I not getting audio? Application window, movies TV, share audio. Is there a way to force it through? Still nothing.
Not on this end, no.
Same here.
Oh, hell. Okay. All right. Well, this is a fucking disaster, isn't it?
Not necessarily.
No, I mean there is the ad-libbing. I mean that's
Yeah, I mean,
something.
yeah, you guys could ad-lib through it. You guys could definitely ad-lib through it.
I mean, can you recapture the narrative here with us from memory?
Probably. Probably. This is the length that you go through, Keene, to get me to do a live reading, you son of a bitch.
It's one option. There's
You're a
other
fucking
options I
prick.
can suggest.
Yeah. Well, no. What you guys got to understand is that last time that Brian scheduled me at a convention for a fucking reading, me and Jesus Gonzalez, we took over and said, "Nah, fuck that, we ain't doing it." And we just did like our own anti-reading and just wrecked the whole program. That was kind of our thing. Which, oddly enough, became part of, became a
regular event.
A regular event at that convention.
That's hilarious.
Right. Okay. So yeah, scrap. Yeah, we could do it. We could do it like that. We'll just, fuck it. We'll do it live. All right. So what I'm going to tell you guys is it takes place sometime around 1985. Could be a couple of years either side of that, either way of that. I haven't really gone and checked anything. I haven't looked up any of this. This is all, from memory. But I'm pretty sure I'm accurate on most of it. There is going to be some aspects of this which may be disturbing, and I will try to let the listener know, when that occurs, but may not be possible, while I'm doing it live. So, I grew up in a town called Congers, New York. It is located right on the Hudson River in between Nyack and Haverstraw. And the house I grew up in, it was this old farmhouse built in like the 1700s. It was converted into apartments. We had, there were secret passages in the place. I could get to my buddy Josh's apartment just moving between the walls. I never had to step out into the main hall. And also in the basement, there was a tunnel leading from the basement that transversed almost the entire property and emptied out onto this secluded area on this overgrown gravel path that led out to Route 9W by Rockland Lake State Park North entrance there. They say that during Civil War time, they helped slaves escape the South from there. And they say that during Prohibition, booze was run out of there. And they say that even more recently at that time, guns and money were run out of there to assist the IRA with their troubles with the British Crown. They say lots of things. We moved when I was in like second grade, to a house about a mile and a half up the way. And it wasn't as cool as the old place. It didn't have any secret passages. It didn't have any tunnels. And then I had to start taking the bus to school. And that was a pretty big deal in my town at the time. Because unless your parents knew the bus driver personally, most kids didn't take the bus. Not when I started going to school. Maybe days where it was vomiting down rain or snowing. But most of the time we'd walk or ride our bike. I used to walk over with my dog. My dog would come back at recess and hang out with us. But when we moved to the new place, it was just far enough and crossing too many main roads where I had to take the bus. The reason that they didn't really put us on the bus is that just a few years before that, right down at the bottom of the hill, there was a horrible, horrible accident involving a school bus. Now, this is the trigger warning here. Bus full of kids, overloaded, had like 50 kids on board. Went across and got struck by a train. Front half ripped off the back half, wrapped around the front of the engine, was pushed a quarter mile down the tracks. Back half of the bus rolled over, lay in the road, a big gaping hole at one end, its roof ripped off. When I joined the local fire department when I was about 18, 19 years old, I got to talk with some of the old cops and firefighters that had responded to that scene back then. And I got to hear the horror stories about the battered lunchboxes, the broken pencils, the lost homework. 3 kids died at the scene and 2 succumbed to their injuries later. They were memorialized on a plaque on a rock at Congress Lake Memorial Park. And that was right near where the accident occurred. That's where we played Little League there. They had a community pool. We fished in the lake. It wasn't good for much other than carp and catfish. Launched some of my early model rockets over there. So getting on the bus, that was a big deal for us. And that's why I remember that when we moved to the new place. Now we fast forward to the mid 1980s. And I know this is going to come as a shock to everyone, but I wasn't a real good kid. I was drinking and getting high well before I got out of elementary school, much less over to high school. And I spent more time away from the house than not, if I could help it. It wasn't really like anybody missed me anyways. So this one night, I'm out, I'm on my way back home, and I found myself on Gilchrest Road coming up the hill. And I'm pedaling up the hill there by St. Paul's School, and I get up to the top and I start coasting down. Light from St. Paul's receding out behind me, and you come into the relative darkness there by the train tracks. And the gates were up, but I still stopped because I saw there floating in the air about the height one would be if you was riding the school bus, this amorphous form, this mist floating in the air there. And I just stopped and looked at it. I didn't want to go forward. I didn't want to go through there. But I didn't really want to turn my back on the thing either. So I just stood there watching it. And I thought, is this one of those kids? Is this all of those kids? Because you've heard stories of this intersection being haunted. We heard all this before. Ghost stories in New York at the time, that wasn't a big deal. You know, to hear that this intersection was haunted. Amityville had just been made into a movie. There was the house in Nyack that had been sold, and the realtor knew that it was supposedly haunted, kept that under their hat, didn't disclose that to the seller. The seller sued them and won. Peter Stuyvesant's ghost, Legend of Sleepy Hollow, Tarrytown, was right across the river from where I grew up. Spook Rock Road, cars roll backwards up the hill. I did that. My buddy's Monza and my old Accord. I did roll backwards up the hill. So reports that this intersection was haunted, you know, we just kind of took it in stride. But there I am, sitting there actually seeing something there. Kind of freaked me out. So rather than say anything to that mist or really inquire too much, and I sure as hell didn't want to turn my back to it, I did what I would normally do. I reached in my top pocket for my cigarettes, fired one up, held the pack up and said, "Hey, you want one?" I don't know what I would have done had that thing answered me. I probably would have shit myself and just spun out right there. But that is what I did. So I'm sitting there smoking, watching this damn thing. And then down through town, you start hearing the train horn. And I didn't move. I just sat there because of that accident. We knew if train was coming, you didn't mess with it. Just stop when the gates drop. That was like that rhyme stuck in my head when I was about 4 years old, and I still say it. Never gone around it, never tried to beat a train. I don't think anybody from Congress ever did. Nobody I know. So I'm sitting there, and I hear the train coming, and I'm watching this damn thing, and then the train comes around that last corner, and you hear the rumbling of the engine, and it hits the horn, and that light comes around that corner and blasts the whole area into this white, blinding brilliance. The gates start coming down, the clang, 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 and that thing going, the red flashing lights and everything. And in all that confusion and noise and chaos, I lost track of that thing that I'd seen before. I didn't know where it went. I couldn't track it anymore. I thought it might have gotten behind me. So when that thought hit my head, I did something I never did before. I hopped my skinny ass onto the bike and started pedaling my freaking ass off. Went right around the one, right around the other, and the train is like right freaking there. It's rumbling. I feel the whole thing going like this. It hit its horn and it's all disorienting. I felt the bike start to wobble. I get to the other side. I fall. I turn and I look, and it's just the cars rolling by. The light from St. Paul's School blinking in between them. Scraped up my elbow, my chin right here. And then I thought, holy shit. I could have been freaking killed. Like, holy shit, I actually went and beat the train. Like, what the fuck was I thinking? I wasn't thinking. Shit, I got to get home. So I started pedaling up the hill, and I get home and prop my bike up against the retaining wall. Let myself in. Mom bitches at me about the hour because I was drinking again. What else was new? And that's it. I think the amount of people that I told in real life before this are 5. And now, all of you. So that's it. That's the story. Right at that point, bet my life against a train for the reason of panic, fear. And that was it. And like I said at the beginning, I didn't go researching any of this, but I'm not going to try to confirm every aspect, but I think that somebody with a modicum of Google foo should be able to confirm, corroborate, or refute many aspects of what I said. And start you off with an easy one. The train crash with the bus occurred March 24th, 1972. So that's that. That was the story.
Well, first of all, that was an excellent story. Just very well told. You had me hooked.
Well, thank you, Jim. Thank you.
Yeah, you've still got it.
It was better in the video where I could actually sample in the train sounds. All right. So when you're looking at this, all right, when you're hearing this, was that a justified thing for me to be betting my life on? Like what is your interpretation of what occurred there? What was that odd occurrence at Gilchrest?
The way it sounded to me, I mean, I wasn't there. I don't know the area, but just from what you described, it sounded like it was the light from St. Paul's School, maybe reflecting off of something, or maybe illuminating a cloud of gnats or something like that.
Okay. What about you, B?
I mean, you know me well. I
do.
I differ from Jim in that, while I don't believe in every supernatural thing, I do believe some of these things that occur have a scientific basis that we just haven't advanced enough to explain yet. Yep. Do I believe you saw a ghost? Probably not. It's probably something a little more based in reality, like Jim suggested. But given your age, given your, all the factors, as you said, you stayed out of the house a lot, etc. It's very easy to see why your mind went there.
You were intoxicated.
Yeah,
I was always intoxicated. It was the 80s. For me to be intoxicated anytime between,
Well, did you ever go back?
Did I ever go back to that intersection?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever see the apparition?
I did again, and I have heard many reports of encounters there. Some type of encounter there. Yeah.
What do you think it was?
What do I think it was? Now, granted, I have not been to that intersection. I left New York in 91, maybe or very early 92, and I haven't been back there since. If you had asked me at the time, I would probably say that I thought it was likely that it was one or all of those kids, because the thought did occur to me that if I had been killed at that intersection because of that train, I did wonder if I would be memorialized on a plaque on a rock at Congress Park too. So for some reason there, that tied it together for me.
Right.
And I think, like you said, it could be that at the time I was about the age of the kids that had died in the accident. They were.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it connects you. I mean, there's definitely some trauma to take away from that.
Absolutely, and I think the trauma is key there for the question of you bet your life. I'll give you an example. When I was a kid, one movie that scared the shit out of me was The Car. Remember The Car?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, we would sneak out at night when our parents went to sleep, me and all my friends in the neighborhood. We'd sneak out. We'd run around the town cemetery. We'd drink one beer. We weren't quite to your level, Coop. But and if I saw headlights in the distance, if I heard a car in the distance, it always scared the shit out of me.
Walking across the dark parking lot and headlights come on.
It was a traumatic movie for me. But at that same time, that same era, and I actually wrote about this in a book called The Triangle of Belief, which is sort of outlines my own belief system. During that same time, a buddy of mine and I saw an apparition, not similar to the one you described, Coop, but hey, look at that. And here's the paperback. Let's get them side by side.
There you go. There it is. A little bit of showing for B. Yeah.
But we had an experience similar to what you had there at the train tracks. We saw what we took to be an apparition in this church in the middle of the night. And that didn't terrify me at all. It fascinated me. It was my equivalent of, here, you want to smoke? So I think Jim hit on it.
I've heard this story. I've heard the story about the church.
Yeah, I've heard the
story about the church multiple times.
I think the trauma of this terrible accident involving people from your town, and then you lose sight of this, whatever it was, and I absolutely think that was worth betting your life at that time. Were you to do it as an adult? Probably not.
Well, and I mean, would it be worth it if you didn't make it?
Good question.
I mean, I think that the costs don't outweigh the benefits, personally.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So I probably was not justified, in crossing in that way.
Oh well, yeah, but I mean, that's really easy to say in hindsight. Yeah. Really easy.
Because we're looking at this. We're looking at this. What, 35, 40 years later.
Right. Where we're able to actually think about it. You had a split second. Train's coming. Something might be behind me. What do I do? And I mean, you obviously thought that you could make it at the time, or you probably wouldn't have done it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that the whole idea of the whole risk benefit analysis of a teenage intoxicated brain actually went through. I think it was more, I don't want that thing behind me. I'm gonna get the fuck out of here. Just
right.
But that was probably it. But it was. Yeah, that was scary. I mean,
do you keep in contact with anybody? Like, do you know anybody who was on the bus?
The bus accident happened. I was but a wee little thing when that happened.
Oh, okay, that's right.
Right. So it happened in 1972.
Right.
Okay? I was only a few months old. Okay. I know people whose older brothers and sisters were on that bus, but I don't know anybody that was on that bus personally.
Right.
But there's still a collective trauma there. I mean, growing up in the shadow.
Oh, very, 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 very much. I mean, like today, you see some, today, if there was a bus that was available to pick up a child at a particular place, and the kid doesn't get on the bus and instead walks to school, the school has a tizzy fit. You know what I mean?
Sure. Well, I mean,
if the kid gets on at a different stop from where they normally do, they have a tizzy fit.
Right.
Back then it was just like, there was a bus that was available, but I was walking with my dog. I wasn't getting on a damn bus. It was a nice day out. I was going to walk over with the dog. We'd play around, and he'd get to sniff on the way over there, and then I get to school. He'd go back home and come back at recess. I wasn't taking the bus if I didn't have to. Yeah, you can't do that today. You just can't do it.
Right.
Right. So is there any aspects of that seemed off to you? Anything that would really warrant another look? Jim, you'd mentioned, something about maybe a natural phenomenon.
Yes, maybe something like the light from St. Paul, or I mean, when you lost track of it was when other lights were brought into the situation. So maybe there's something light related there.
Mm-hmm. I'm seeing a couple of statements and things from the chat. GSM. Some people who are told the house is haunted may have an expectation of a haunting, and anything out of the ordinary could be perceived as such. That is true. That is true, Gio. Yes,
like a
very
cognitive
good.
bias, or
yeah, may play into a bias. Andrea Jones, and if it's Andrea and I'm saying Andrea, I apologize.
Like Andrea.
Andrea, yeah, there's that too. Here's the obligatory Ron thing. I wonder how much adrenaline played a part. Good point. Something that I didn't even really consider until right now. I mean, I guess I kind of did in a way. I mean, I did recognize that it was like a panic response, like a fight or flight thing. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure adrenaline did play a part, but how much that shaped or changed my perception of the events that happened there, that is a good question. We do become hyper aware and tend to start assigning agency to things when we are nervous.
Absolutely.
That's the tiger in the bushes, right? That is a thing that humans do tend to do. So yeah, good on pointing that out.
Or like people with PTSD, the people who drop to the ground at the sound of loud noise. Yes, same here. It's like saying, are they justified in doing that?
Yes.
It's, you guys to take into account psychological factors.
Right. Yeah, just because it can be difficult to explain what appears to be irrational behavior.
Yep.
When you have rational reasons for engaging in that behavior.
Right.
That can be very, very difficult.
Right. Like if there was indeed, a firefight about to pop off, then yeah, you would be justified in doing it. But
yes.
If it was somebody popping a balloon, then no, probably wouldn't be.
Probably not. Right. Sam Reeves has commented here. Also, 35 years later, it has been remembered numerous times. Each time we remember something, our brains rewrite the memory.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's true, but Sam, are you saying that it's been edited, or has it been like I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. Like, are you saying that it's rewritten and edited in the rewriting of the memory, or rewriting as in solidified in there? Because that could be kind of read either way.
I think he might be saying both, because whenever you think about it so many times and you write it down, and it doesn't necessarily change, but you remember different aspects of it, and you might focus more on one particular part of the story than the rest of it, because that's what stood out to you more. But you might even forget details that could totally change it.
Okay. Yeah, Sam is saying that yes, our brains do edit the memories, usually depending upon what memories are stored close to it in the brain structure. Okay, yeah, I think I'm tracking you. He also said before that there were scientific alternatives, not to say it didn't happen exactly as I remember and feared. So, so Sam, it sounds like, some of what I'm remembering, if I'm understanding what you're saying here, some of what I'm remembering may be off more than a smidge based upon other experiences that are stored in my head close to that area, and what else is going on that may parallel things that were happening at that time. If I'm right, let me know about that.
My mama says because I got a little medulla oblongata.
Well, that's breathing. That's breathing and heart rate. That I'm pretty sure I remember how to do. Geo Sam is adrenaline and alcohol. Who knows what? Yeah, if it was only adrenaline and alcohol, that was a slow night back then. I mean, you guys do have to understand that this was the time in the area that determined that cocaine wasn't quite good enough, so we were going to invent crack. Jeez. You're welcome. So yeah, you guys, I mean, all bringing out, good points. That it is, that some time has passed, that maybe I'm not remembering it exactly, as it occurred. Maybe there are some points that, are kind of out there. And if you guys do, if you guys, are at all interested in this, and you can or do find anything that refutes anything that I said, anything that I've said about the train accident, about, the crossing, about the town, about, any aspect of that tale, by all means, please do. And this is a sincere thing, not a Twitter please do, because when I say please do on Twitter, that isn't really an invitation. That's a challenge. Don't. That's a dare.
I mean, I've known you long enough to know when you're bullshitting, when you're playfully bullshitting. You're not bullshitting. You sincerely believe this happened to you, and I believe that this happened to you. Okay. That being said, who knows exactly what happened to you? It's 35 years later. We're dealing with the memory of a kid who was scared to death. I mean, when it comes back down to the reason why we're here, yeah, if you're a kid in that situation, you're probably justified. As an adult, you know better.
Right. Okay. And I mean, Brian brought up a good thing. Did the thing actually happen? Did the thing actually happen? I think that was not really a question I was expecting to field. But that is kind of interesting. Jim, what's your take on that?
What do you mean? On what?
Well, Brian had just said, that he has known me for a bit.
Right.
And
right.
he knows, he's known me for a bit, and and I mean, I've written fiction with him. I mean, he knows, my writing style.
Sure.
But Brian thinks that that something did occur, even if I don't know what it is at this point in time, given the time span. What is your general impression on that?
I mean, yeah, I've got no problem with that. I mean, yeah, if that's something that really happened to you, then yeah, I believe that happened. Then again, I know that you're also an awesome story writer, so this could very well be a story. Or just to be devil's advocate, you could maybe believe in ghosts, and maybe this is a slightly embellished story to push the agenda.
Ooh, okay. I mean, so if somebody did have that predisposition, if somebody did say, I think, is more in on the supernatural than Brian is.
Right.
Brian, if you wanted to say, okay, we're gonna kind of Whitley Strieber this, okay, and make this into, this is, as he did with the aliens, this is going to be the ghost thing. This might be a good place, a good incident to write from, to present that as a factual, to present that as fact, even though it is fiction.
Sure.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
I definitely, I agree with that. I agree with that. I think that, that if that was the agenda, to try to get people to believe in ghosts, I probably wouldn't have presented that as I did if that was my intent.
Gotcha.
Because I don't think I said ghost in the thing,
didn't.
saying that's what I saw. And if I did, I apologize, because I meant to specifically not say ghost,
No, you didn't.
saying that which I saw, ascribing that to what I saw. But if I did want to sell you that ghosts were real, that, that I have been part of a ghost story or whatever, yeah, I think that I probably could take this and tweak it a smidge, tweak it a little bit, and then, make that stand out.
Sure.
To more sell the supernatural on it. Sure.
Gotcha.
I think so.
No, what led me to the ghost was whenever you said that you thought that it might have been one of those kids or all of those kids.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, given where it had happened.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. If you pressed me at the time, I probably would have said that I thought it was those kids.
Right.
At the time. But in my defense, ghost stories were the thing. That was kind of that was kind of the gig.
So
mean,
did yours get passed? Did your story get passed around? Like, did you tell anybody about it when you were younger?
Great question.
I had told my immediate crew, the guys that I saw every day, my good friends that I really trusted, but that wasn't something that I really told people at school and that kind of thing. I wasn't. No.
Did they believe you, or did anybody help you investigate it?
I think most of them did. And as far as investigating it, we we did try to go in and try to be amateur ghost hunters there for a while.
Right. That's
which
awesome.
In that area we were pretty busy. That's what brought us out. That's eventually what brought us out to Spook Rock Road that I had alluded to there. Now, Spook Rock Road is one of those things. Gravity Hill is another one, but Spook Rock Road is it's a local tale wherein a native girl was murdered on this one particular rock, and now fast forward to the 20th century, the spirit of that native woman draws cars backwards up the hill toward the spooky looking rock. And I did roll backwards in 2 different vehicles. Did it my buddy's Monza when I was the passenger, and my old Honda Accord wherein I was the driver. And I did it in the Accord a couple of times. The first time I did it with my girlfriend at the time, Amanda. Brian, you remember stories about Amanda. She screamed bloody freaking murder and just wanted to get the hell out of there once we started. And then 2 hours later, when she's telling her sister Brenda about it, Brenda talks her into freaking going back. So 2 hours later, I'm back there with the both of them in the freaking car. We start rolling backwards. We go like this. And so they both start screaming bloody freaking murder. I'm convinced that's the part of the reason I have tinnitus in this ear to this very day. I'm pretty sure that between Amanda and Brenda fucking Brennan, that's where I started getting the tinnitus.
That's too damn funny.
And got Sam Reeves saying that he hopes the paranormal in the afterlife exists. His parents have stories of hauntings, and he does believe them. But when it comes down to it, we have to realize that the thought of us ending at death scares the bejesus out of us. I think it scares the bejesus into a lot of us, Sam. And, it Yeah, I think, some people do have a difficult time conceiving of or accepting that death is or could be the terminal point for us, that there isn't anything after. I personally don't have that much of a problem with it. But you may consider that part of, what I do for a living too.
Man, I mean, how much would it suck to like be anchored to the place that you died and just have to relive that over and over again?
Oh God, that would be horrible. It'd be like Groundhog's Day at Gilchrest Road.
Yeah, except instead of a groundhog, it's a train.
Right. Oh my God. No, I mean that would be maddening. I would think. I would think that would be horrible. Like
yeah, like in the movies, you see these concepts of death loops.
Yeah.
Where people get stuck in the same, just replaying their death over and over again.
Yeah, that's got to be. Oh,
That's a worse hell than anything depicted in religion to me.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Very much. Jeez, to be sitting here caught in that moment, like the worst, like literally the worst moment of your life.
Well, there's these like medieval renditions of hell that I've seen where men are like being hung over fire. Being hung by their genitals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Yeah, and it's funny that you mentioned that, because in the actual video recording that I had ready to go for this, I've been putting like the background films on, and I used Haksan, which is it was a 1922 documentary about witchcraft, and it was like half documentary, half fiction. Take all the bullshit old horrible stereotypes, and that's pretty much what was thought at the time. But it is an interesting film, and they do show a lot of those type of pictures with bodies all over the place, and just being force-fed brimstone, and have their genitals thrown into smoldering cauldrons and everything. It very much that kind of artwork is shown out in 1920s documentary style, where they show that picture. Jeez. Okay, and then they point out with the stick what they want you to see, and then it flashes to a text wall of because it's a silent film, right? So they point it out with a stick, like, here, look at this. You just see this stick coming in from the other side. Oh yeah, look, this guy's dick is in the fire over here. And then it has like a big text wall of like what was important in the frames. It's kind of neat. But that was part of the presentation. I wanted to see Haksan, which, if you guys haven't seen it, there is a 1968 version which is narrated in English by William S. Burroughs, which is always worth checking out, because I can listen to that nasally whine of a junkie narrate just about anything. Has a horrible voice, but he does great narration.
Well, you can always come in later and chop out the part where you read it and plug that in. Just edit it.
Yeah.
But right, I enjoy the live reading personally. I haven't read the or I haven't seen the presentation or anything like that. But yeah,
I think it worked well. Yeah, I think it worked
and
well.
Brian, thank you, because I was getting really being unable to figure out what had happened there. I think for the next time, I'll spend a little more time on that and be sure that I have that down before I try to do that again. Thank you for the suggestion. And now you can actually say that, here we are. You finally got me to do a live reading, you prick. And it's ironic that I do it here. I mean, I avoided it at all the conventions at just about every cost, but no, of course, I'm freaking doing it.
I mean, I think that you should. I mean, you do a great job, really great job.
Well, thank you, Jim. Thank you. I appreciate it. And some of that, it was, picked up after a while. I probably would be better at it now than I would have been then. Plus I don't have, layman or somebody sitting in the first row, sitting there staring at me. Well, guys, we have been here it's been about an hour.
Yep.
We're at 50 minutes in. So I want to, thank you for your patience and for coming out here and assisting me in presenting this. I very much appreciate both of your insights and inputs, the questions, and the things that you've pointed out with that narrative. And I really truly do appreciate it. You guys are awesome. You did great, and that is exactly the type of thing that I wanted here. Also wanted to thank everybody that is seeing this live. If you do happen to catch this after the effect, I will have links to all relevant links to both Jim and Brian, where you can find them, interact with them, subscribe, share, like all their stuff, because they are awesome and important, and that is something that you should be doing. And Jim, you got a couple minutes here to go ahead and show your stuff. Tell us what you've been up to and what you're going to be doing.
Well, thanks so much, guys. As most of you know, I'm a PhD candidate. I have everything but my dissertation done. It's in for its preliminary assessment, and if it passes their judgment, then I will be defending it before the end of this semester. So I'm really focused on that. But other than that, I'm not doing a whole lot.
Yeah. You don't have any debates or anything like that lined up recently?
Yeah, I have a debate coming up. Let me think of the guy's name. I can't think of his name, but he's the guy who's behind Missing 411.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a Bigfoot guy, and he believes that there's these disappearances all over these national parks around North America that are supernatural related.
Right, Brian, you probably know him, don't you?
I don't know him, but I know the Missing 411 series.
That's kind of right up Brian's alley. Like that's the kind of thing that Brian keeps an eye on.
It's David. I don't know if I'm
yes.
David Pilates or Pilates.
Yeah. He has a strange last name, but yeah, and he's also the founder of the North American Bigfoot Association.
Very, very cool. Very.
See, that's a whole.
And is that going to be on YouTube, or where is that going to be?
Yeah, that's going to be on Modern Day Debate.
On Modern Day Debate. Okay, great. I will, definitely let us know when that's happening, and B, I'll let you know when that's happening, because you would probably get a kick out of that too.
Yeah, I mean, we could do a whole live stream on that. I for one am not convinced that there couldn't be some kind of unclassified primate somewhere in the world. But when you start tying it into dimensional portals and aliens, and just let it be an undiscovered primate.
It's gonna be Friday at 10 Eastern.
All right.
Good.
Cool.
Good. Friday at 10. Excellent. Well, thank you, Jim. That is definitely. I think Friday at 10. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be working, but county dispatch willing, I'll be there, with the caveat that if I have to jump in the middle of the thing, it's not my fault. It's because work made me do it.
I'll tune in.
But so Brian, I know you've got a few things going on, and you always have things to say about yourself. So let's hear it.
Yeah, we mentioned triangle belief for your viewers, particularly. I think that's something of mine they'd enjoy. It's short. Yeah. You can read it in one night.
Yeah, it is. It is a tiny little thing. I mean, I read this over making a pot of coffee and finishing 1.5.
Yeah.
So this is 1.5 cups of coffee in length.
Yeah, it's my journey from childhood, when you're told to believe in everything from Santa Claus to God, and you take those equally, and then adulthood, when you start to question all that. So that, and I guess the other thing I'd mention is End of the Road.
Yeah, I got that here too.
Bestseller. Oh, look at that. Out now in paperback and Kindle as well as hardcover. So.
Oh yeah. So who's doing the paperback?
Cemetery Dance.
Is it CD? Okay.
Yep. And other than that, I got something big dropping. Probably we're going to announce it in April, but I'm not allowed to talk about it. But it's going to blow everyone's socks off. So,
well, all right. Well, I'll go freaking sock shopping in May, I guess.
I mean, you know what it is. But,
I know what it is.
Tell the public what it is.
Not that I really know what it is, because that would be wrong, because then you would have disclosed something that you shouldn't have disclosed.
Not that there's a character named after you who may or may not blow his hand off with a model rocket. But
Oh snap!
Yeah, these guys, they love taking the ways that I've like harmed myself. And then working it back in to make it, it's like my version of hell. Like, rather than like waking up with a train accident, like every freaking horror novel that I read that's written by somebody I know, I have to see like some way that I've injured myself or some fucking bullshit like that. It's like, oh yeah, no, there was this thing in the early 2000s about, hands ripping in half and all these horror novels. Yeah, because everybody's sitting there talking about when I ripped my freaking hand in half. Dickheads. You guys are assholes.
It's a form of flattery.
No, it's always fun. It is. It's fun. Well, very cool, Big. I'm going to be looking forward to that. I'm going to have that. So, very cool. Well, guys, I thank you so much for coming out with us tonight. It has been very, very cool. Thank you for sticking with the technical difficulties and everything. And I guess that's about it. I think we, go ahead and wrap it up.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you for coming in, Jim. I appreciate you being here. All right. Y'all take it easy now.
Take it easy, guys.
See ya.